Hello, everyone. I'm Mark,
I'm Rob.
and welcome to Mark and Rob's Sports Showdown. This is Tuesday, May 28th, and this is tonight. Caitlin Clark has her, I guess it's going to be her 8th game, right? They're 1-6, and we wanted to do a summary recap of the season so far. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you do subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified of all our videos, and feel free to make intelligent, non-insulting comments and share it with your family and friends. We're trying to really promote our show because we're a new show and we're trying to grow. Anyways, Caitlin Clark's so popular, we decided to do a special video on how she's played so far, and her strengths and weaknesses essentially is what we're going to talk about now, and what she's done right and what she's done wrong, and what she's been up against. So Rob, why don't you go first? Why don't we're going to start, so we're not accused of just liking everything Clark does. We're going to start out with everything negative about what she's done so far in the WNBA.
Well, so the obvious is her turnovers. She's got to cut down on her turnovers there, and I know she's a good ball handler, but she's putting that ball out in the front where they can steal it. Also, with her shooting, she's got to move her game in a little closer. You know, she's starting to do that now, but she's got to move her game in a little closer, get a little mid-range game, and maybe branch it out. We know she can shoot the three, but she's going to be an all-around player and start working on that mid-range game, pulling up for shots, just coming down and shooting. Her defense is getting better. She's playing. She's got the hand. She's got the good sliding in the hands, but still, she's getting called for little silly fouls or some fouls that really aren't fouls. But to avoid that, just make sure you move your feet and not reach and use your hands. So, overall, getting maybe some more rebounds. So get into rebounding more too. So, but that's what she needs to work on.
Okay, so I'm going to agree with, of course, all of that. I think she's forced some passes also, which she did in college also, but she has a high reward, high risk type of pass sometimes. But like I explained before, those can be, if they underneath the basket, they're a lot more likely to score. So it's worth taking a chance sometime. But she needs to stop forcing it and maybe be aware of the double team earlier so she doesn't get trapped. Some of it's her teammates not coming around, but that's her fault. Her shot selection is pretty much the same she's always had. She's always taken long threes and stuff like that. So I don't think that's it. But her shooting percentage is not as good as it should be. Granted, she's had a lot of attention put on her with double teams and stuff like that. She hasn't had many open shots, but still, she needs to, regardless of what the reasons are, in terms of a weakness, her shooting percentage is not as high as someone with her talent is capable of. And same thing with the turnovers and a turnover to assist ratio, which isn't very good. And I agree with it. I think her defensive effort has been good. I just don't think she always had the correct technique in college, and now she's learning to move her feet more, and maybe use her body a little bit more when it's appropriate. I'm not talking about body checking like Diana Taurasi did to Kelsey Plum. I'm just talking about, in the post or something like that. And also, so when she reaches in, make sure it's a smart reach in and not just for sake of reaching in. But the first 3 games, she had some ticky-tack fouls. But still, you've got to be aware of that and just try to be smarter about fouls. Because like before in college, she couldn't get in foul trouble. So sometimes she held back on her defense because that team would just lose. They just weren't strong enough. This team is also not strong enough to win without her. Although they won 13 games last year, but whatever. But still, she gets 6 fouls. So it's good for her to be more aggressive on defense and putting forth more effort. Because if she wants to be the best player of all time, which I've read that she does, she needs to be a very good defender at the very least.
Right. The fouls seem to take her out of the game, because the coach, she gets 3 or 4 fouls, coach has got to take her out of the game. So yeah, if she can cut down on the fouls and get more minutes to play, she'll definitely play a lot better.
I think she needs to develop a floater. She drives to the basket, and a pull up, where like 8-foot pull up. So that if someone is taller underneath the basket, which is often because she's 6 foot and the people underneath the basket are usually 6'4", she needs to do a little pull up or teardrop, and that way she doesn't always have to drive and just do a layup because those can be blocked. And I agree with the mid-range shooting. She should do that more often. She's done a couple of them, but not very much. She basically does layups and threes and logo threes. and it'd be nice to round her game out. So I think that's a weakness, is not having a variety of shots. Even though I think she's a great scorer and a great shooter, that's still a weakness if she wants to be even a better player. Like Michael Jordan developed a turnaround jumper in the second half of his career. He didn't just, he knew he could dunk it. He knew he could have great drives to the basket. He knew he had a great jump shot at that point, but he wanted to add something extra that was unstoppable. It's kind of like
he worked on it. He wasn't that great jump shooter coming into the league, but he worked at it.
All right. So she's only 22 years old, and she had no time in the off season to work on that. So, to develop new moves and new types of offensive repertoire, because they only had like 1 week between graduation and starting. But either way, that's what she needs to work on. And actually, she could actually get a little stronger too. And I know she worked out with weights the last 2 years. So I'm not even saying she's not aware of that or isn't even trying to do that. But I think she could be a little stronger for the WNBA, because the women are just stronger than they were in college.
Right. She's got the right frame to add some muscle, because like you said, she's gonna get hammered. She knows that. So yeah, she's got to work on go in the weight room and work on get some muscle in there.
She could sometimes work a move without the ball a little bit more, like Steph Curry, come around and get some of those threes. But I don't know. I'm not sure we're missing anything there. I think she's a good dribbler, but she's used to dribbling against college players who aren't as good defensively, and she got away with a little bit sloppy dribbling or a little bit chancy dribbling, and she's got, her pickpocketed because of that. So she can work on that. But I think overall she's a good dribbler. I saw one comment that said she couldn't dribble. It's stupid. She's a good dribbler. She's not a great dribbler, but she's a very good dribbler. But she could work on doing that. And, judgment can be improved in anything. And
right. She tends to put that ball out in front of her a little bit more. And like you said, in college, she can get away with that. But
not with these guys.
Those guys got quick hands. And so.
No, because she's going to get the best defender for the next 15 years. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And she's going to get double teamed. The better she gets, the more they're going to double team her. So She needs to be a better dribbler because of what she's going to face. So she needs to work on that. Her passing's great. She just has to stop forcing it a little bit. And I think, and cut down on the turnovers. Sometimes that's just judgment. And I overall, those are, I think, her weaknesses. If you're listening to this video and you can think of some more, have at it. Go down and put whatever you want down. I'm all for criticizing Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
As long as it's reasonable and not like a hater says silly things. And then, maybe they'll get back to her and she'll say, hey, great, I'll work on that. I'm sure she's aware. I'm sure most of the things have already been pointed out to her, but you can't just fix these things overnight, especially with a new team and a new coach and a new system.
Right. Exactly. She's a smart ball player, smart person. She'll get used to it. She'll figure it out.
So let's go over her stats, and then we'll go over what she's done well. She's averaging 15.4 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 1.1 steal, 0.9 blocks, and 5.3 turnovers. And her assist to turnover ratio is 1.2. I'd like to see that at 2. And, more than that, great. But at 2 is good. She was 1.8 in college. Anyways, so I'll start with her strengths that I think what she's done well. She's an unbelievable passer. I'm gonna put it this way: she's the best passer in the history of women's basketball, pro or college, that I've seen. I've seen Sue Bird, and she's a better passer than Sue Bird. It doesn't look that way now because she's everybody's new that she's passing to. They can't even handle her passes,
right? And
they're not expecting them. And she's not used to her teammates or the system or the league and everything like that. But you'll see, like by next year, you'll notice that there's no woman that can touch her in passing. And in my opinion, her court vision and her ability and her strength on her passes and speed and accuracy is just unbelievable. She's better than all but a couple dozen men in the NBA in history. That's how good a passer I think she is. But I don't think she's shown all that so far. So I don't think she's displayed that. I think she is and will be just be able to display that as things work out. Maybe not by the end of the year, maybe by next year. So I think that's a big strength. And her shooting, I think she's a great shooter, but she hasn't shot great yet this year because of everything's new and the attention that she's got. But she's improved on the turnovers as she's gone along, and she's figured out the traps earlier, even though I said that she still needs to even be quicker with that. and she's out. She's also moving without the ball better than she used to. Not standing around after she's passed it or and things like that. So I think those are all things that she's done, and she's made great effort on defense. I don't think she's a great defender yet, but I think her defense has always been underrated. Sometimes like her effort wasn't always there because she was resting for reasons we talked about earlier. But she's got 1.1 steals and 0.99 blocks per game, which is good for a guard. The 0.9 blocks especially. So anyways, that's what I think she's done well so far, and she's made some nice drives to the basket, by the way.
Right. I agree with all what you said with their strengths. I mean, overall, she's a shooter. I mean, she's a shooter and a scorer. I mean, there's a difference, but she can do both. So I think she's improving in that. I think she's getting used to the double teams, and she's getting around. She's actually even starting to rebound a little bit more too, and she's cutting down on the turnovers because she's realized she's not forcing it too much. And also, she's a great pass. Like you said, she's a great passer. Her vision, peripheral vision, and court awareness is awesome. And then unfortunately, like I said, her players can't finish off those passes. Otherwise, her assists would probably be, at least probably around 3, like you said. And overall, like her defense also. Her defense is getting a little better. Not to reach too much. She realizes that even though some people are saying they're against her as far as the foul calls, some of those fouls are silly fouls. That's what we call them as coach. That's a silly foul. Yeah, but then some were, of course, the referees. I don't know what they were looking at. But in general, she's got like this. Like we said, she's willing to move. She's improved a lot in her defense, I believe, and so yeah. With those strengths, I think she'll be right with her shooting. Get a little more movement. And that's also comes with the coaching. I mean, with plays, they're starting to set her up with some plays, but they got to do some down screens. How about a pick and roll? Have you seen a pick and roll for her at all, or
not? Well, there's no pick, but there's very little roll. That's on her too. I guess that's a weakness that we should have mentioned in the beginning, that she doesn't do the pick and roll on a consistent basis well.
Yeah, I mean that's I mean, if Boston would come out with her body, she'd set a screen, pick and roll, and she'd make that little pass, or she'd make the jump shot off the screen.
And given what a great passer she is, that should be something that she should really work on to make her unstoppable, because she should just go watch Stockton and Malone do it, and that's all you need to do is just go watch film of them. And if you can't figure it out, then you're not going to figure it out, because they were the best at it, or as good as anyone in NBA history, as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, I agree.
So if she could just do that, I know she's a student of the game, so I know she'll watch that, but she needs to do things, that we talked about, and I think she will. But it's like I said, she had 1 week in between, so she got away with having, a drive to the basket and a 3-point shot and a long 3-point shot. And I think she's going to add more to it, because she has there's so much attention to her and so much double team that she's going to have to, if there's more variety to her offense, it's harder for them to concentrate on her. And the smarter the passes that she makes, the less likely they're going to double team her, right. So, because they know that the trap, and if it's effective and it's a turnover, well, they're going to keep trapping her. But if she gets out of the traps and makes smart passes and recognizes it earlier, they'll stop double teaming her and stop trapping her. Because they they do that to Jokic, and Jokic just makes a great pass.
Right. Or like I said, when she passes it, just cut to the basket. Don't just pass it and stand there. Cut to the open spot, because that means that spot's open because the other person's man's on them. So you pass it to there and just cut and fill the space, and it's right there. You see that? Yeah, I've been seeing that in the games, and then that's what Minnesota's been doing. That's how they've been getting beat, because
I think she's been put in a tough position mentally, because she has more pressure than any team athlete since LeBron James. I don't think that's an exaggeration. But I think she's handled it pretty well. But at times she lost her composure. One time she got a technical. Other times you just see her like really depressed on the bench and not positive. But she's improved on that since the beginning of the year. Like game 2 that you saw her sitting down, it was like, there was the meanest look I ever saw in her face and most depressing look I ever saw in her face. But that's improved since then. So she needs to keep her composure. And I know she's in a very difficult position because, like I said, everyone's gunning for her. But and everything's new. But mentally, she could be a little stronger in that way. So I don't know. I think we pretty much, I don't want to criticize her too much. Like I said, I think the situation has not been easy. But if you're a hater out there, don't be surprised if her numbers improve significantly between Game 7 and Game 40. Because I think it's so clear to me that she has the talent to be like an MVP in this league and to win a championship. And that she's not a bust, and she's not. I don't think she's overrated, and I think that performance is going to come as the team progresses and as she progresses. And I'd have more confidence if I thought her coach was more experienced. And I don't think the coach is super experienced. It's only the second year in the league. So I'll talk about that in another video in terms of the scenario, a different scenario. We're gonna have another video on Caitlin Clark. It's gonna go out also today. So that is going to be why people are objective or not objective, and why she's polarizing, and why their views vary greatly in terms of how she's doing and how talented she is and isn't. And we want to talk about that. And I think that's an interesting topic. So we're going to cover a lot of other things in the video. We might repeat some of this, but we'll talk about the goals and the objections to her, and also what she's been up against. And we're going to try to demonstrate how things could be easier for her. All right. So anyways, but thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't, and hit the notification bell when you subscribe. Make some intelligent, non-insulting comments, and, share it with your family and friends. And we're trying to be the best sports talk show around. And we're trying to get better too. We have our strengths and weaknesses also. Yes, and I know I mispronounced some names people criticize, and I'm trying to get them. And sometimes I get two different pronunciations from the sports announcers.
It's okay. You're better than some. You're better than some broadcasters. So don't.
Yeah. Hopefully our analysis is better. Some of my pronunciations. So.
You're fine.
Anyways, all right. So enjoy this thing. So they have a game tonight, by the way. I should go over that. They have a game, and they finally at home. They've had a lot of away games. They're at home, and they're going to have 3-day rest. So maybe that will be one of the things. Will be the key to them playing better, and their schedule lightens up a little bit. Let me just mention what that is. They're playing the LA Sparks, so they got their one win against tonight at 7:00 on NBA TV. Then the Storm 2 days later, and then the Sky, and then they're playing the Liberty the next day. So they're going to have a back-to-back again. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for your support.
All right, peace out.